Hey everyone, welcome to the weekly home workshop. I'm Terry Taylor with the Tailored Realty team. Every Wednesday at 12:15, we're going to spend about 15 minutes breaking down real estate topics for buyers, sellers, and homeowners. Simple, practical, easy to understand stuff, nothing overly complicated. So if you're joining us live, thanks for spending part of your lunch break with us. If you're catching the replay, you're in the right place too. So we're going to go ahead and jump into today's topic. And as you can see, it's episode one, buying versus renting. How to decide what's right for you. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into that. Again, thank you for joining us. I did a little brief intro on last night, and you know, I wanted to be clear. Certainly, we have a lot of community videos out there. We got a Taylor Talks segment that we do where we're talking to folks in the community. But make no mistake about it, we are in the real estate business. So we wanted to give you something that can kind of help you in the real estate space. And that's why we are doing the weekly home workshops. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to get started. If you have comments, feel free to add comments in the comment section. If I can get to them within the 15-minute time frame, I'll do it. Otherwise, I might answer them offline or on the different platforms at a later time. Also, I got my setup here so I can see my clock. Well aware of my time. We got 15 minutes, so let's dive right in. So, one of the most common questions people ask is, should I keep renting or is now the right time to buy? Whenever we're doing workshops, whenever we're doing consultations, that's one of the first questions we get. And again, that question is now the right time to buy? The good news is there is no one size fits all type of answer. One of my concerns is when we speak in like absolutes, and this is the only way you're going to do things. And I don't like when people try to make you feel ashamed for the decisions that you've made, and that's not what we're here to do. So again, the goal today, we're not trying to pressure you into buying or renting, for that matter. We just want you to have some clarity on the decisions that you're making. So buying isn't always better than renting, but we want to make sure we understand the differences so we can help you make the right move for your particular situation. So again, no pressure here. We're just going to look at a few things, ask a couple of questions, and then you can see what makes sense for you in your particular situation. So when does renting make sense? When can renting be smart? Renting can be a smart move if you plan to move like within the next 1 to 2 years. If your move isn't for a couple of years, renting might be the best option for you. Remember, we're all in different stages of life as well. So if your job and your income isn't as stable as you'd want it to be yet, renting might be a smart move for you. One of the things we hate to see certainly is when somebody gets into a situation where they can no longer afford the home that they're in. So your job and income isn't stable yet. Quite honestly, the loan process will kind of show you where you are in that phase. But job stability and income stability, if it's not there, it might make sense to rent. Um, if you want flexibility and fewer responsibilities, renting might be for you. A lot of times people forget when you own a home, it's all on you as far as responsibilities go. Whether it's major upgrades, major fixes, things that go wrong with the home, that's your responsibility. When you're renting a lot of times means that there's not as many maintenance costs. I wouldn't say no maintenance costs, but there are fewer maintenance costs. So if the AC goes out, or depending on what's in your lease agreement, right? But if the roof goes, or any of these other systems that are attached to the home, if there are issues with those, or maintenance happens, or in the summer, if the AC goes out, when you're renting, you call your landlord takes care of it. So the maintenance cost kind of is built into your rent. Also, with rent, there are predictable monthly payments. You know what you're paying month after month. Okay, that's one of the times where renting is making sense, and this is what renting means. Renting also means there's a flexibility to relocate. So at the end of your lease, whether you're on a month to month or a year lease, hey, at the end of that lease agreement, you can certainly relocate. And there's a flexibility to do that with rent, um, or with renting, excuse me. Uh, Although we don't recommend it, but a lot of times you can even, there's maybe some penalties associated with breaking a lease, but even if you had to break a lease, you still have that flexibility to move on. But let's be honest, rent usually goes up. And we've seen in the rental space, with rising home prices, the rent prices have also been going up. Secondly, when you're renting, you're not building equity. Okay, so you're not building equity in the home. Um, and quite honestly, you're paying 100% interest. None of these rent payments come back to you. Not in the form, unless something has changed. Of course, with all of these things, anything that we talk about, make sure you consult with somebody that's a professional in that particular field. But you know, as far as I know, you don't get rent payments back on your tax returns, so you're paying 100% interest. But the simple fact is, renting does buy flexibility. It does not buy ownership. So if you're interested in flexibility, remember we're talking about job stability and things of that nature. If that's certain things that you're looking at right now at this time in your life, renting might be the best thing for you. When does buying make sense? And again, we're real estate agents. We do help renters out from time to time, but for the most part, we're dealing with buyers and sellers. But when does buying make sense? If you plan to stay 3 or more years, then you probably want to buy. If you want payment stability, you probably want to buy. And if you want to build, and again, opinions may vary. Quite a few people say, but the best way to build wealth is through home ownership or through real estate transactions and real estate ownership. So if you want to build long-term wealth, buying makes sense. So what's some of the benefits of owning? You get equity over time. So you get to build equity in that home, right? And it's what they call an appreciating asset in most instances. With most loan types, you're going to have fixed payments. And quite frankly, even in certain situations, depending on how your loan is structured, parts of those payments could, potentially fall off and lower your payments over time. Just depends. But again, that's more of a lender type question, and you can ask those questions when you talk to your lender. So again, we've already talked about it, that potential for appreciation. And then there's the freedom to customize. Remember, we were talking about renting. There is some restrictions with renting, things you can and can't do, certain paint colors and codes you can't use. Um, excuse me, but unless you're in an HOA neighborhood with specific restrictions, a lot of times there's a freedom to customize your home. You can do what you want to with the yard. You can do what you want to on the inside. You can give it your own touches and feels. Um, but one thing that's important to note, and again, contact us if you want a consultation. The amount of money you need to buy a home, a lot of people have a misconception, and you don't always need that 20% down to buy a home. Remember, there are a lot of first time home buyer programs out there. There's a lot of things that many people don't realize exist when they're first purchasing a home. So don't forget, there's different loan types. You got VA for the veterans, FHA, conventional. Sometimes there's even like hero programs for police officers and nurses. So depending on what your situation is and what field you're in, there may be a specific loan type that's perfect for you. So again, that was just a real quick get you thinking kind of segment to talk about when is buying right versus when is renting right. So how do you make the decision? Let's come up with a 3 question decision test. Ask yourself these questions, and then we'll decide whether or not it makes sense. So, number one, how long do you realistically plan to stay? Remember what we talked about? If it's less than 2 years, then renting may make sense. If it's 3 or more years, then buying deserves a second look. Okay, so if you're going to be there long term, you might want to consider buying. It's a little bit shorter term, then renting might be a more flexible option for you. Number two, do I want flexibility or stability right now? And remember, if you want flexibility, that's more for renting. If you want stability, you probably want to consider buying in those instances. So flexibility versus stability. And remember, a lot of times your income might not be where you want it. Your job stability may not be there yet. So in those instances, you might want to consider renting. Go ahead and talk to your lenders too, your bankers, just to see what it takes. Because again, you might be closer than you think if you want to purchase and you're still renting. But those are some things that you want to think about. And then the third decision making question to ask yourself: am I paying rent anyway? So if you're already in a situation where you're paying rent, then if the answer to that question is yes, let's see if it's worth um, trying to own a home. Because again, I think rent prices and sometimes even mortgage payments are becoming pretty comparable these days. Again, with the constant rise in the price of homes, a lot of things make that same shift with it, including rent payments. So the right move isn't an emotional move, it's an intentional move. You want to be intentional about what you're doing. And whenever you talk to us, one of the first things we're going to talk to you about is your budget and what you can afford. So there's a lot of budgeting and those kind of talks that go into consultations when you come and talk to us about whether or not you're ready to buy or whether you should be in a situation where you're renting. That's it, right? We're wrapping this thing up. We're not going to keep you long. Again, just a little 15-minute break during lunch, give you some things to think about. I do want to let you know, moving forward, we will have some assets and some things that um, that you can download, booklets, guides. Even right now, I put on the screen a QR code that'll take you to our website. Our website has a lot of resources, up to including um, mortgage calculators and things like that, so you can kind of get an idea of where you are. But to summarize it, let's be clear: renting isn't always bad, and buying isn't always right. Remember, it's about what your situation is, where you are in your journey, knowing your numbers and your timeline. Okay, so that's when your best decisions are going to come. When you understand your numbers and you understand your time frames. And we're here to help you kind of sift through all of that. That's why professional realtors are important. We help you see the big picture. We help you look at those things that are important. We help you navigate the process because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just going and finding a home, right? So that's why we're here. I hope this segment's been helpful to you and for you. If this was helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone else who can use it. And remember, whether you're buying, selling, or just doing some planning ahead, here at Tailored Realty, once you're a client, you're always a friend. We'll see you next Wednesday at 12:15 for the weekly home workshop. We are wrapping it up with about 2 minutes to spare. Again, I want to respect your time. I know you're on your lunch break. If you have comments you want to add in the comment section, feel free to do that. If you want to direct message me or Yolanda, again, my partner is Yolanda Taylor. Go to our website. You can read all about us. We got some videos in there to give you some information about us. We are local. We're here in Columbia, South Carolina. We can help you anywhere in the South Carolina area. And again, we're here as a resource to help you out. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you taking time out of your lunch. And we will see you next Wednesday at 12:15.